What's up, everybody? Thrill here. Welcome back to the channel. Well, it finally happened. I had to replace the engine in my 1998 Ford Ranger Splash. It wasn't exactly a fun project to do, but it was a project nonetheless. I was dreading the day that this was going to happen. Basically knew that the truck was kind of on its last leg. As you'll see in the series, I had a blown head gasket on the 98's engine, and I just wanted to document this series on how I went about replacing the engine. Hopefully it'll be a fun, entertaining project for you guys to watch. Certainly wasn't all that fun while I was going through with it. I'm glad it's something I was able to accomplish. I was able to document the progress. It's not necessarily going to be a step-by-step how to replace an engine on a Ford Ranger, but mostly just an overview of the project, what I had to go through. I really just wanted to document it just to have you guys ride along with us and see what we had to go through, the pitfalls and the ups and the downs and the joys of replacing an engine in the vehicle. So I hope you enjoy this series. So without further ado, here's episode 1 of Project Nemo, Engine Swap. Working on a project for my 98 Ford Ranger. The Ranger has run into a little bit of an issue where it's, well, just give it to you straight. He's a goner. So, Nemo, as my daughter affectionately calls him, has a blown head gasket. Truck's still running-ish right now. I was actually able to drive it over here to my father-in-law's place. I gotta fix Nemo so my daughter has a vehicle that she can get around in. Let's go take a look at Nemo first, and then we'll show you what's going on. All right, so the reason why my daughter Abby likes to call this truck Nemo is because, well, it's kind of an orangey color, and it's got a bad fin, if you remember the movie. Yeah. So Nemo, a little bit of a issue here. I just drove it over here, so I'm not going to pop the radiator cap because I don't want anything blowing up in my face and burning me. But I went to check the coolant level the other day and saw that.
That's nasty.
That is
Ew.
Oil mixing with the coolant, and that is no bueno. I actually took the truck to a mechanic and they did a compression test. They did a bunch of other things. I can't remember what he said, but he said, yep, blown head gasket, cylinder number 6, which explains why I had a cylinder 6 misfire. Could have saved $60 replacing the coil because I thought it was a bad coil. Dang it. They inspected the cooling system and saw that it was so sludged up that they said, we're not going to take the time to try to clean it, and we won't be able to get it all the way clean. So what we're going to do is source a replacement engine and replace it for you for the tune of $6,600. I said, nope. Drove it home and started really contemplating life on what we're going to do with this truck. If I was going to scrap it or if we were going to try to fix it or try to replace the head gaskets or whatever. I did not want to try to deal with head gaskets. I've never changed head gaskets before. Not saying that I wouldn't try it, but I just don't have the motivation to do that. Considering that I'd have to take the cylinder heads off, have them taken somewhere, get machined down again, make sure they're nice and flat, get new head gaskets. I'd have to replace, I'd want to go ahead and replace all the gaskets on the upper portion of the engine. I'd have to take everything apart off the top end. If I'm going to get that elbow deep into it, I might just see if I could just replace the whole engine like the shop was recommending. Which brings us to the solution to our problem. So this 3-liter is going to be coming out of Nemo, and we're going to do a heart transplant. What do you say?
Yay!
Do you have any idea what's going on?
No.
None whatsoever.
As long as you can make him work.
Let's go show you the solution. And this is our solution. She doesn't look like much right now, but this is going to be the heart transplant donor for Nemo. And you guessed it, my daughter has named this one Dory because it's blue.
Woo!
So,
It's a duck.
yeah, I just noticed that as well.
duck's name?
I don't know. Squeakers?
It kind of looks like a Susan.
Susan. All right, whatever you say. Okay. So I was able to pick this truck up for $600.
Lucky.
So I just saved myself about $6 grand. And as you can see, this truck has seen better days.
There's glass on the back.
Yeah, the back window busted out. That's what you call redneck diamonds right there.
Yummy.
When I first walked up to this truck, when I was communicating with the owner, they told me that the young man that was driving it swerved to miss a deer and spun around and hit an embankment. And as you can see, just done some pretty bad damage to the truck, which is a shame because considering the condition that this truck was in now, it must have been in really nice shape before. It's a really good looking truck, actually. It's a shame that it's down like this. So I walked up to the back of the truck and noticed this tire and noticed that all the lug nuts are still on the wheel. That's not good. Snapped the axle, tore up the leaf springs, and just pretty much wrecked the leaf springs right off the frame. The frame is twisted. So I thought maybe I can just, you know, save on this, put a new bed on it, throw a new axle underneath it. But yeah, the frame is gone on this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have Abby clean this thing up as far as the interior, and we're just gonna start taking off body panels, getting this thing stripped down, because I'm gonna use this and we're gonna pull the engine out that way. Pop the hood, show you the transplant. This is our donor.
It looks the same.
It should look the same. It's the same engine. It's got nice green coolant in here, not sludgy mud. The oil is nice and clean. And they said the air conditioning still worked on this thing, so that's nice. So what Abby and I are gonna do today is just start trying to clean this thing up a little bit and get all the glass out of it that we can so we don't hurt ourselves. They also said they got relatively new tires on it, so that's nice. We're gonna take all the pieces off this thing exterior. I'm gonna save on the sheet metal that I can. We're gonna sell it. And then we're gonna get all this grill stuff out of here, and we're actually gonna cut the cross beam here. We're just gonna pull the whole engine and transmission just straight out the front here, just to make it easy on ourselves. This truck is going to go to the scrapyard. Unfortunately, it's a little bit too far gone for us to mess with. It's yeah, it was a nice truck before it got wrecked, so I'll kind of get you around in here and take a look on the interior. Back window was busted out. This is a king cab, which is nice. It's got the back doors that open. Passenger side doesn't open. Seat's got a little split in it. It's a little bent here. I think the kid that went in this truck went for quite the ride. It's got a leather wrap steering wheel in it, which is nice. The buttons are all pretty good shape. He took his stereo out and kind of did a hack job to do it, but yeah, it is what it is. It's got the same color interior as Nemo, so that's nice. So I'll be saving on all this interior stuff and looking to sell it. Headliner's in better shape than Nemo. I might save this headliner and put it in Nemo. Does not have power options, which is, I actually kind of like that. I like it. Good old-fashioned cranks. One less thing to go bad on a guy. So, and then the center console armrest still works. So that's going in Nemo. I'm going to pull the engine out of this. I'm going to save the transmission. Either I'm just going to take this whole thing out and just put it all into Nemo, or I'm going to take this out, disconnect the engine from the transmission, and when I yank the motor out of Nemo, I'll just set it in and just bolt it up to the transmission. Sorry, and maybe save myself some steps here. This truck does have a little bit more miles on it than Nemo, so I may just keep the transmission that's in Nemo as it is and Save on this one for later. You remove quackers? Susan. All right, well, enough yapping. Let's get to work. So I was able to get this back side door open. You can do that if you have a pair of needle nose pliers. You can grab a hold of these cables and kind of fish them out of these little slots here. And then you just pull on the actual individual cables and it'll release these latches at the top. They sell a retro kit where you can fix those, but I'm not gonna mess with it on this one. That door opened on the back side, on the passenger side pretty easily. What we're gonna do is go through and get all the trash out of here. My daughter's gonna then vacuum all this glass out, try to get this stuff cleaned up as best we can. And probably gonna move on removing all the interior pieces out of here, save on those and try to sell them. I think I'm gonna keep this headliner for Nemo, because Nemo's is pretty stained. We had a little bit of a leak in the window in the past, so it's got some stains on it. So we'll try to salvage that. A lot of good parts on the inside of this thing, so trying to be gentle with it as much as we can. Let's get to cleaning. All right, Abby's taking the fender, get you back into it, there you go. She's taking the fender bolts off. Got these off already. You can see I got one of the doors off and been peeling away the interior. Getting all the glass cleaned up, got all the interior plastics out, and just starting to make a pile here. Got the rear doors off. Pretty easy to do. This one here has got a little bit of a dent in it, which is unfortunate. This one I don't really think has any dents in it, just managed to have some scratches on the side from where it went into the ditch. And unfortunately, this tailgate is just, she's gone. But we're working on getting these fenders off, these doors off. Just gonna try to strip this truck down as much as we can. I'm gonna have my father-in-law help me disconnect engine parts and get this engine out of here eventually, but we're just gonna try to get all the body panels off that we can. Get all that out of the way so that we don't damage anything while we're taking the engine out. So we're trying to be methodical and careful because, well, if somebody else could use these parts, that'd be great. Some of these I might save for Nemo. If Nemo's parts are broken, I can replace them with these good ones. So that's the update for now. All right, so we took a little bit of a break, got some lunch. Got the front disassembled on the truck here. Got my parts piling up. Next thing we're gonna do is work on getting these fenders off and kind of get these doors off next. And then that should take care of it for what I want to get accomplished today. I'm gonna leave the seat in there in case we have to maneuver the truck around and be able to sit down and still be able to steer. Don't know if I'm gonna take the dash out or not. I got both fenders off. There's a 8mm bolt down there. There was one inside the door jamb going this way. Of course, one's across the top. There was one about right here. That was a booger to get off. It actually snapped, so there was another little bracket that went under here. Got it off. Same on this side. And then, of course, the inner fender plastic. There was two 8mm holding it to the frame rail or the fender rail. And then there was 7/32 or something tiny holding the actual plastic to the fender itself. So 8mm at the bottom, one right here, a few across the top, one over here in this corner, and then all the inner fender plastic structure. So next thing to do is take these doors off. Should just be, I think, a 13mm here and 13 there, and it should come off. All right, let's work on getting this door. It's a 13mm. There's a 13mm nut and a bolt, 13mm bolt, and on the inside, through this direction, there's a nut that'll not take off. So. got the driver's door off. The wiring harness that goes through there is basically just for a little sensor on the latch that lets you know that the door is open or shut. And that one really fought me. Instead of just kind of going in and plugging into a harness like that side did, it plugged into a harness, but there were still wires within it that split off and wired off into different directions, and I could not get it off. My hand's kind of sliced up because of it. I was trying to get underneath there. Didn't want to do it, but I ended up doing the old snip method. But she's off. So fenders, hood, front bumper, and accessories. Side doors are off. And I think the last thing I want to do before I call it a day is take out that rear window trim and get all that glass and stuff out of here. I just really don't want to have that sitting around on a sharp edge and cutting anybody. So I'll get that done, and then we'll call it a day, I think. Well, that'll do it for episode 1 of Project Nemo engine swap. Got a lot of work done getting the truck stripped down and getting it ready for episode 2 as we begin the tear down of the engine and removal of the engine from Dory. So stay tuned for episode 2. Thanks for watching today's video. Hit that like switch on your way out. Comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching. God bless.